Happy Friday. Ugh, it's cold, y'all. It is so cold. I know there is a lot happening more in our minds than on the streets now on this weekend, and we'll get to all of that in a minute. But first, it's cold, y'all. Really, really cold. And the first thing I want you to remember about it being cold is that we can complain. Most of us watching this can complain about how cold it is because we are not cold at the moment. We are inside somewhere warm, debating whether or not we want to go out in the cold. Okay. There's a lot of people right now in Denver who don't have an option. They have nowhere to go. So if you would like to venture out briefly and meet me at 29th and Arkin, I'm going to be delivering a wagon, a cooler, a couple of tub storage bins to Sick Tired Dead. If you follow them on Twitter at Sick Tired Dead, they are a mutual aid community that they are a mutual aid society that focuses on feeding the unhoused population. I'm headed there to drop some things off. They'll be at 29th and Arkin just 29th and Arkin. I get it wrong every time I start to say it. 29th and Arkin. He's probably already there, and I'm going to be late because that's what I do. And he's military, and my husband's military too. And they can just get used to me being late because I'm never exactly where I say I'm going to be when I say I'm going to be there. Not intentional, just works out that way. So it is cold. Things that you can do that are super helpful. For the people who are outside all the time, there are these handy little things. This is something I discovered these today, and I'm really excited about them. So this is a flashlight and a charger and a hand warmer. And I don't remember how to click all the buttons, which is why this one is still flashing. The flashlight is still on next to me. I don't know how to turn it off. I'm going to have to go read the manual. But it's really cool. It heats up and it will stay hot for 21 hours if you only use it as a heater. So these are not cheap. They're about $10 each. You can get them at Sam's Club. You can get them at REI. I got a couple for the people who are going to be out, the people, Wall of Moms members who are out with the homeless a lot in the cold and in the dark. This would be a great gift for anyone. You know, the thing with the unhoused is they don't have a reliable place to charge these. So another good thing to do, if you can, anyone you give one of these to, also make sure that you come back to see them once in a while and bring a charge bank so that they can charge it when you see them. You can get a good 26,500 MU charge bank for about $30 on Amazon. You can look for deals elsewhere, but I think the biggest one that is also a supercharged fast charger on the market at the moment is 26,500 MU, and I just bought one. So get one of these, bring it fully charged, give it to you. This makes a really great gift for anyone who is unhoused. It'll get them through at least a night. One of the things that we're trying to do with Wall Moms is there's always someone with some unhoused community. So making sure that we can come and check on these. It's a good way to keep tabs and to check on the people that we've come to care about in our unhoused communities, because there are just so darn many of them and it is so damn cold. Which brings me to the next point. I really hope the cold does not deter you from going to the big event this weekend, what I think of as the big event, at the Planned Parenthood in Denver on East 38th. Iris Butler, local organizer, will be putting that on from 11 a.m. tomorrow. I will be there with her. Hopefully you'll be there with her too. If you see me, please do come say hi. I will not be in Bloc because I chose to be public facing. I will be covering my most important bits according to the instructions that I've given you guys, because I really don't want to be identified by a lot of the cameras around. To that end, that brings me to the next point about Bloc. If you want to show up in Bloc, that's cool, but do take a minute, because you've got now shops are open really late, or at least later on Fridays. Take a look at the Bloc that you would wear tomorrow. It's supposed to be snowing. It's supposed to be in the 20s. That's pretty effing cold. I'm a runner. I know what to do when I'm in motion and I'm running. I don't know what to do when I'm standing still. I've had to try on 3 or 4 different outfits, and I'm just kind of giving up. Like, I might not have Bloc on the bottom, and that's going to suck. So don't be where I am. Do better. Check out what you've got. Ask yourself, does this anonymize me? If not, we need to work on that, because here's the thing. These long-range security cameras, like the ones that are installed at 16th Street Mall, the ones that are installed in other public courthouses, squares, and places of business, and the police absolutely do have access to them, or can get it quite easily without your consent. If they decide to hone in on something, like look at that person in the green jacket, then they can get a lot of footage and match that footage from other cameras of the person in the green jacket. Like, for example, the traffic cameras. So whatever you're wearing, not to say those traffic cameras are good, they're terrible, but they will look for colors. They will look for anything that stands out or deviates from the mean in some discernible way, and a bright green jacket does. So I tell you that to tell you this, it's time to invest in a black jacket. It's time to invest in black pants. It's time to invest in a nondescript black backpack that, at least in a grainy security camera, will not look that different from the people standing around you. Or even better, it will not, something that will be so nondescript that the cameras will not be able to match it to anything else. Another point about those cameras, it's a 2-point confirmation. Here's what that means. If your mouth and your nose are covered, that's 2 of 3 points that you are denying them for a positive confirmation. So, not encouraging anyone to make trouble. I'm not inviting you to break the law. But if you're going to and you are hell-bent on it, make sure you're covering all 3 points. The distance between your eyes and ears, that's 1 point. Your nose and your mouth. Make sure you're wearing a face mask. Make sure you're wearing goggles. It is not unusual when it's snowing to wear goggles or really heavy glasses. This would be a really great day. Tomorrow would be a great day to do that. Please don't break the windows at Planned Parenthood. They're already touchy about, people coming there and demonstrating. But do not hesitate to show up because you don't have the perfect outfit, but do take a minute or two to think about what your block will look like now that it's really effing cold. At least we have not had that slow descent into cold. It's just bam, got cold all at once. So you got to figure it out all at once. Go see what you've got and what needs to change. Because beyond the block, the other thing that we have to worry about is my boyfriend. Now, my boyfriend, and this is a real issue, and I don't care what Jeremiah Elliott said yesterday on the Jeff Bard show. He's my boyfriend, Jeremiah Elliott. My boyfriend also has an obsession with my daughter. And I very much do think of Iris Butler as my daughter, which is not to say that she's a child, but that I care about her as much as I do my own children. She calls me mom. She asks me for help when she needs it, and I will always be there. And it is absolutely fucking weird that my boyfriend is obsessed with my daughter the way that he is. He can't stop posting about her, even though he doesn't seem to know where she shows up. He can't keep his name out of her mouth or stop himself from tagging her on his Facebook and Twitter accounts, even though he does not know what the hell she's doing or where the hell she is most of the time. Another thing that my boyfriend likes to do that's really weird, kind of amateurish, and hurts me a lot because it's useless, is he likes to go to events and take photos of license plates. Now, anybody with a rudimentary understanding of the Google knows that license plates are only accessible, because it's government data, it's only accessible by people who work for the government and need to have access to that database, or private investigators. My boyfriend doesn't have a PI license. There's no reason you couldn't get one if you really wanted one. Just saying. But what does a license plate tell you? It's kind of like an IP address. All a license plate is going to do is confirm that a car was at a location. And that is really relatively useless as long as you and your clothing cannot be identified in a camera, say with a green jacket. Well, this person in a green jacket who, we have other pictures, looks like this person, and their car was at the event. That's another point of confirmation. So that in and of itself, that license plate, don't spend too much time spinning out about it. There's nothing they can do with it. At most, it can confirm that this car was at this location, and the assumption that this person was at the event. That's circumstantial. That's not enough to hold up in a court of law. So if you're just showing up to support my daughter and he gets a picture of your license plate, don't worry about it. If he shows up, you show up to support my daughter, Iris Butler, tomorrow at Planned Parenthood in Denver at East 38th Street, and your block is not tight, and you decide to say, break something, or you see my boyfriend to slash his tires. Not saying you should, but I could understand if you did. I don't think he has a car, though. I'm not really sure how he gets around, but I would love to find out if anyone knows. But that said, if you were to slash his tires, that's illegal. And then that series of matchings would then trace back to you. That's the only way it would be really interesting. So I tell you that to tell you this. If he's gotten pictures of your license plates, it feels like a violation because it's creepy. But it's also almost as useless as being able to find out your IP address. It can give me a lot of information about you, but not the sort of information like your IP address. It gives me a lot of information about you, but not the sort of information that is actionable directly in a way that could be dangerous to you, your family, or your life. It's just another data point that a person who's determined to stalk you and collect data points can get. But in that moment, it's frankly not that useful at all. And you need to know that, because when you understand how useless that photo of your license plate is, you're taking away his power, because he feeds on fear. Don't give it to him. We're all a little bit smarter than that. And it's time to start speaking up. So there you go. Please do show up and support my daughter. My dumbass boyfriend is probably going to be there because he's obsessed with her. But the worst he can do is get a picture of your license plate. I mean, if he had power, he'd be using it by now, right? He just says really mean things and he scares people. And he actually does legitimately go after one or two individuals. Right now, he's decided that person's going to be my daughter. So all you have to be is not her, and stay out of his way. And you're probably going to be okay. So do take notice of your own block, as well as the people around you, and don't get too comfortable, because everybody looks a little different when they're wearing hats and ski masks and they're prepared to stand around in the cold for hours on end, because the things that you wear when you're in motion versus standing still, as someone like me found out the hard way today, very, very, very different. So bringing around to another question that I got today that I thought was very interesting. And Coach MK, I don't know how much you know about this or if this is your area of expertise, but can you tell me something about tactical glasses? I'm really, really worried about, this is the next point I'm going to talk about, the violence that could be showing up on election day and beyond. And I'm wondering if it's time to invest in some tactical eyewear. What do you recommend for the visually impaired? Now, I am visually impaired. My vision is terrible. This is one of many pairs of glasses that I hide around the house, because my memory is also starting to get to me. I'm now becoming that old woman that's like, where are my glasses? Where are my pills? It's amazing. It's really, really, really sexy. It's so hot, y'all. But when it comes to tactical glasses, the word tactical, let's break down a little bit what that means. If you've ever been in a situation where people are shooting, right, there's a little PTSD embedded in that word. It can be a very triggering word. So rather than talk about shooting, we use code words like tactical. So whenever I was in my previous life in a situation where we were talking about shooter preparation, we would use the word tactical. And tactical was a catch-all word that meant a lot of different things, including but not limited to shooting. So when we think about tactical eyewear is specifically made for the types of events where you'd be shooting, okay? Not specifically ones where you would be shot at. If someone is shooting at you, tactical eyewear ain't going to do shit. It's not going to stop that bullet. They are not the same as bulletproof vests. What they will do is stop the casings from getting in your eye, from buckshot and smoke and all the things that could be coming out of different types of guns from blowing back into your own eyes. That's what tactical eyewear is for. If you can afford it, shoot, yeah, go get yourself some tactical, like go to Sports Optical. They have a really amazing selection. I got my pair this week. I got a pair of prescription tactical eyeglasses. And they're fantastic. And I would pair that with a really powerful and separate mask, because the problem, if you wear glasses and you know this, is that anytime you exhale, you're going to fog your glasses up. And there's no anti-fog coating thick enough to stop that from happening when you're underneath a face shield. So the way to go, generally speaking, is if you're going to do the tactical eyewear and that you can afford it, it's available to you. It's that plus a mask that might change the way that you, so play around with it. Take your gas mask with you. Trust me, it won't be any weirder if you go to Sports Optical uptown. It won't be any weirder than when I walked in with 5 different outfits and was like, I need something that's going to work with this, or this. They were like, poor little hippies didn't know what hit them. I was like, yeah, I'm protest mom. I do different things. Here you go. But I need, and you said at the very least, when I go to the range, I'm ready to start shooting again. So when I go, I'm going to need, let's start here. I got myself a couple pairs because I could. If you can't, don't worry about it. But do know that when it comes to contact lenses, we advise against them if you think you might be in the middle of gas. If you do not intend to be on the very front lines pushing back against the police, but present, you can be in the back. And you probably could do just fine with the contact lenses that you usually wear and super tight locked goggles, okay? Not the little bitty like swim goggles. Get yourself some bigger goggles, a ski mask, something along those lines. Odds are you're going to be fine for the most part in that. In the beginning of the summer, we were telling everyone, take your contacts out and leave. That was a situation where we expected to be gassed from all sides. Until we get back there where we're expecting to be gassed from all sides, just position yourself not where the gas is going to be coming from. I think about the most recent action where gas was used. It came from one direction. It came from across the street. It would have been easy to be at the back of that pack and not get any gas near you at all. So if you're going to, if you don't have these options available to you, it is a whole lot cheaper to get. Yes, I know I need to go feed the unhoused and get the stuff uptown. Thank you. If it is a lot cheaper to buy those goggles, good swim goggles or ski goggles, than it is tactical prescription eyewear. So there's a whole range in between. No, you don't need tactical prescription eyewear. If that's available and you want to be on the front lines, go do it. But for the most part, the vast majority of us are going to be just fine wearing contact lenses, which I don't do, paired up with a really badass set of swimmer ski goggles. There you go. Especially now in the winter when you're going to get freezing rain or you're going to get a lot. I mean, the goggles are just a good idea anyway in the winter, whether or not there's going to be gas coming at you. So you don't have to worry so much about the word tactical, because tactical means, again, shooting or preparing to be immersed in gas in sort of the sort of training situations that are more common in the military and paramilitary and not really outside of that. So I wouldn't go spending all the money just yet. Use what you have, start where you are and work with what you've got, and then upgrade as necessary, which leads me to the final bit. I'm getting a lot of notice or sensing a lot of concern from my protest kids in particular about violence on election day and beyond. And I'm not saying it won't happen, but again, from a more practical planning type of perspective, I am not expecting the apocalypse on election day. I am preparing for and expecting a slow descent into frustration that doesn't look or feel much different than where we are right now while we wait for those votes to be counted and for either Trump to concede or for Biden to concede. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but this is the first election in the United States in my lifetime where the outcome is likely to be challenged. And that has frankly only happened in what we arrogantly refer to as third world countries since the 70s when I was born. So will there be violence at the polls? I don't know about violence, man. Most of these guys are just like my boyfriend. He fits right in with them. I've talked about Al-Qaeda before and how I just think they're a bunch of pussies, pistol packing pussies. I said it then, I say it now. I mean, real people who actually intend to do damage don't carry handguns. Scaredy little pussies who want to scare other people and aren't actually prepared to use that handgun carry handguns. All they want to do is scare you. I'm from gun country. That's why I say it with confidence. Either they're ready, either it's a big ass handgun, they're ready to put down, something to save the livestock. We had all kinds of guns in our house and we never once had a handgun, didn't need it. So I don't have a lot of respect or time for people who carry handguns and want you to be aware that they are concealed carrying. That sort of person wants to intimidate. If you have a purpose to conceal carry, you've probably been around people like that all the time and didn't know it. And that's the way I have time for that. That's the way it should be. Anyone who wants you to know that they are packing either is nervous and wants you to back off of what you're doing, or they want to intimidate you. Either way, you really want to shoot this in the middle of the day? I understand the temptation, but the actuality of it, pretty low. The worst they can do is get in your face with a gun. And I know how scary that can be if you've not been in that situation. I've had guns pointed at me more times than I care to admit, and it doesn't really do anything for me anymore. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go home and practice pointing guns at yourself and your friends until you feel comfortable. It's not how it works. It's understanding and spending enough time with guns to understanding how they're used, and that the most dangerous person is a dumbass who doesn't really want to use that gun. They only want to scare you, and then you hit them at the right moment and rub up against their ego, or they do something really dumb because they don't know how to use the gun. Most of them don't, and that's when damage happens. So I tell you all that to tell you this. I am not expecting all of a sudden that we're going to be living in Westworld, let alone what was that other one, Deadwood, that we're going to be in Deadwood or Westworld, either of those HBO shows. Look them up. They're both fantastic. Come November the 3rd. We're just not. If Trump wins, I do think a lot of the Proud Boys and such will still be emboldened, but they're also really out there and they're really stupid and they give themselves dumb names. So odds are pretty damn good even though we don't see it the way that we see the police coming after protesters, I promise you, the FBI is watching them too. There you go. So with that in mind, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying it's not a legitimate concern. I'm saying try to keep your fear tempered, because in those moments, like the person with the gun, they are most likely to make a really dumb and fatal mistake when they are scared. Scaring an amateur with a gun is a really bad idea. Calling them out on their pussiness while holding a gun is a bad idea. Continue looking at them. We're not looking at them at all and just making a beeline into the pole. Not being intimidated and not being deterred from doing what it is you want to do. That's the way that you're highly unlikely to be harmed in that instance, right? Because they just want to stop you. They don't engage, don't interact, just go about your business. And I really do think that's going to be the MO, at least after Election Day. So if you're stocking up for the apocalypse, I'm not saying don't do that. I am saying I think we've got a little more time than that. I also don't think that we have to worry about militias specifically taking over if Trump wins on November the 4th. I do think that this slow slide that we're in will continue, and that emboldening will absolutely go up a notch and continue. But I don't think the purge is going to be declared on the 4th specifically. So whatever makes you feel most comfortable and safe, absolutely do it. But I would strongly advise against spending your 6 month that you may not need for the long term, like stocking up on all the spam that you could hold in your basement and tactical eyewear for, like we're now at 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's another movie I watched the other night that I liked a lot, y'all. So between now and then, remember, yeah, the apocalypse could come tomorrow, but I don't think so. Either way, you're still going to have to eat tomorrow. So let's not make any hasty decisions that would draw down your bank account so much that you wouldn't be able to get through the winter. So let's temper that passion with prudence as much as we possibly can until we have an idea of what the next step is going to be. Prepare for the worst, identify it. That can usually take away your fear of it, and then we can address it in practical terms. So if that's all you do this weekend, this super duper duper cold weekend, is address and think, that's a lot. Give yourself credit for it. We don't necessarily have to be out doing things. What we do need to do is take care of ourselves, and self-care can look like buying 100 cans of Spam and knowing that you have what you need, if that's what you think you need, to get through 28 days later. Cool. Self-care can be getting a massage. It can be saying, fuck this debate. I don't need it. I'm watching Borat. That's what I did last night. The new Borat movie, by the way, is amazeballs, you guys. Amazeballs. I'm probably going to watch it again tonight and tomorrow. But I tell you that to tell you this. What does matter is self-care, no matter what that looks like. Let's identify it, think about it, and price it out. Sometimes making a list of things to do can be soothing, even if you don't execute every item on that list or make every purchase. It can feel like a plan. And a plan is all most people need to not be scared or to feel like they have a modicum of control over a rather uncontrollable situation. That's why I talk about OPSEC, OPSEC, OPSEC. I can't control anything, but what I can do is practice good OPSEC, say, I did these things. That's the best I can do. Let's go. You're coached. You're loved. And if you're watching this, yay, we're all winning at life. Going through some of the comments. Hello, Jess. I love you, Jess. Yeah, my boyfriend is creepy and useless. I need to dump him, but he just won't get away from my daughter. 42 is the best year yet, man. You'll be at the polls. Everybody's going to be safe. Met Fury is going to be at the polls. We love you. Thank you. That's another great thing to do. If you have not signed up to be an election defender, look up the Working Families Party. That's the party of Candice DeBaca. Look up the Working Families Party. They are training election defenders all over the country virtually right now. You can get in on that, get trained, show up to the polls. There are lots of ways to participate as a poll defender outside of the select who will be hired by our government. So it won't be on election night. Yeah, we won't know anything. And they're saying like, we'll know by the 4th. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have resolution. We might know a winner by the 4th, but we're not going to, the earliest we could possibly have final confirmation earliest would be November the 20th. And then that's only if someone concedes. This is probably going to look like 2016 and 2000 all in one big disaster that the world is going to hold against us for many years to come. I don't know. I don't know. That's a question for my friend Shauna Foster, and I'll probably be bringing her back as soon as I possibly can. But she is, funny enough, working for the Working Families Party right now, and she's a little busy with these election defender trainings. I'll see if I can get her to address that either on Sunday night or on the Monday edition of the news. But there are plans being made and written and instructions that'll be going out through the Working Families Party to help people prepare for that. So right now, this weekend, go think about showing up to 29th and Arkansas Court and meeting me and bringing stuff to Sick, Tired, Dead and all the other lovely people who are going to be helping the unhoused. Bring hand warmers. Hand warmers are great. Like I said, these at Sam's Club, these little hand warmer power bank flashlight combos are really amazing. Those are good too. For the most part, just come up and just don't be a dickhead. Come up and say something nice and ask the unhoused, what can I get you? Is there anything you need? That one act of kindness might be enough to get them through a really, 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 really cold night, just knowing that somebody gives a shit in a time when it seems like so few do. So there you go. There you have it. That is what I have to say about that. Hopefully I'll see you at 29th and Arkansas Court in a few minutes. And if you're watching the Sick, Tired, Dead, I'm on my way. Have a good weekend, you guys. If I don't see you tonight, I really do hope to see you tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, I hope it's because you're practicing good self-care.